Hi, I'm Marilyn Ghigliotti, and I am an actress, better known for the role of Veronica in Clerks. Clerks was basically my first film role, and that was filmed in '93. But I started acting probably around '89, '90. Started taking acting classes, but it was about 2 years before I really started to feel comfortable that I can go out, audition, do the community theater circuit, and just kind of get my experience in that way. What inspired me to be an actor were changes in my life. I was going through some changes and just kind of trying to find an outlet. The first thing that I kind of thought of was modeling, because petite modeling was kind of a little bit big at that time. So kind of worked my way through trying to find my way in it as well. And then a little foot modeling as well. Now, I really didn't actually do very much in either. But what I did find was classes, acting classes that were actually being held in Red Bank, New Jersey, called the Actors Training Institute by John Hyde. And so that was kind of my introduction to acting. Great therapy, too, by the way. Out of all the movies that I've done, I can't say that I have a most memorable or a favorite, because each one of them brings something very different for me, and they've all worked a different part for me as well. Obviously, the role of Veronica in Clerks is definitely going to hold a special place in my heart. There was just something about that whole process for everybody. We were all just starting out. We were all kind of getting to learn the business, and just the whole independent side of it, the whole doing it from a very low budget kind of a thing. It's just, you know, I don't think I'll ever experience that again. Not in the same way as I did with that, even if I do other low-budget films. But I've had other roles on theater that I've actually enjoyed. Again, because they've all been very different. Susie from Wait Until Dark, it was a very challenging thing because I actually had to play a blind woman. Doris from Same Time Next Year. If anybody's familiar with it, it's like these two people meet in a cabin every year at the same time, even after getting married, and just kind of have an affair. But there was just something very sweet about it, and it's like you go from very young to very old. I remember a friend of mine telling me that when she went to the theater, because it's like at one point I'm actually pregnant during the scene, and I'm starting to go into labor, and a friend of mine who was in the audience heard one of the other patrons there that is like, oh, she must have gone through labor before. And yes, I had my daughter at that point. In Crimes of the Heart, I can't remember the name of the character, but the Susie Spacek role, where she's kind of a little loony. And so it's like things like that. It's like all these roles have those moments that I cherish. So it's kind of hard for me to actually pick one. So the way that I actually look for roles to work on, I don't really. At this point, I just want to work. In the last couple of years, I've actually gotten to do some really great stuff that's very different from what I have done and from what people know me from. And so if I'm going to really get choosy on what that is, it would be something that's going to challenge me, something that's different from what I have done, so that I don't get pigeonholed, because I've found that it seems that Clerks, playing Veronica, might have actually pigeonholed me in a certain way that people don't see me as, they see me as a strong person, which I am. But I'm not the slutty person that is actually in the role of Veronica. I actually have some very good morals. The latest film that I've actually worked on is called Alien Armageddon. Without giving too much, it's like it's a world that's been overtaken by aliens, and they're called Nephilim. And I'm actually a victim of the aliens. And there's something that they do to certain people to transform others that have been taken. Funny thing is, though, I was at WonderCon not too long ago. I was talking to a fan, and we were just kind of talking about different things. And then he kind of looks at one of the photos that I have on the desk, and he's like, wait a minute, Alien Armageddon? It's like, I just saw that last night. You are... And he said what was going on in the scene. I'm like, yes. He's like, I didn't realize that was you. That was like the greatest compliment he could have given me, because I've kind of put aside that stereotype, and I actually acted and was able to bring a character to him without him recognizing that it was me. So I think that's rewarding. So a project that I'm working on now, actually I'm not working on it, but I'm on hold for it. It's a film that'll be done in Vegas and Boulder, Colorado, from what I understand. And it's called Cemetery of Lust. What I can say is that it's a film within a film. And I'm actually playing an actress in both. And again, something very out of the norm for me. I play a priestess, which is actually quite cool. It's funny because, again, it's playing a priestess within the film that's within the film, but also outside of the film within the film, if that makes any sense. I'm looking forward to actually doing that, because I think it's going to challenge me again as well, kind of push me a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully we will be filming within, I don't know, maybe the next month. But just waiting for final funding, as we all do here in Hollywood. There's always been a role that I've always wanted to do, but at this point, I'm too old. The role that I always wanted to do, and I actually almost had a choice to do it, but I was doing Wait Until Dark at the same time. I actually auditioned for both roles at the same time and was offered both roles, and that was really great. But then I had to make the choice. It's like, oh my gosh, both are great. One, same time next year. It was just a two-character play. So I'm throughout the whole thing. And then in Lion in Winter, playing the role of Elise, I had to really weigh my options, and at the same time next year won out. And I just always prayed at the fact that maybe this role will come up again for me, but now, not so much. I can maybe play the Queen. One of my most memorable roles, of course, is obviously Veronica in Clerks. A lot of people think that really changed things for me, and I think a lot of people thought, it's like, oh, wow, she's got it made, she's making lots of money. And just people don't realize it wasn't my overnight success. It wasn't I don't have to worry about bills anymore kind of a thing. Yes, we got paid after the fact, but it really wasn't anything all that big. It was a low-budget film, and we were told that we would get paid, and we got paid. But in the sense of it actually changing my life, yes, it has. I can't deny that. People know who I am. I can only liken it to a Rocky Horror Picture Show. It kind of has that status to it, and okay, so I've made my history in this life, and I have a legacy to leave behind, and so for my daughter, I've got that. But as far as opening doors for me, it might have opened them up a crack, but it hasn't really gotten me through the door to be able to just audition as frequently as I would like. People definitely know who I am. Casting directors know who I am. But I still need to prove myself. And I've been working on that for myself because I want to be able to prove myself in this business and let them know that I wasn't just Veronica. And I'll admit, I wasn't the greatest in that, but I've learned through my process to get better at my craft. So the audition process for Clerks, I don't think it was very typical of what it is for Hollywood. Through the community theater circuit, we heard about someone who was out of school wanting to do a student film. And they were holding auditions at a local community theater that basically everybody from that area knows. And so I decided I was going to go. I had a monologue piece that I was doing at the time. And so some people were kind of a little, oh, it's just a student film. It's like, oh, it's not really going to be much of anything. And I figured, why not? I get to actually be on film. I didn't care who was making it. So I went, and there were quite a few people in the theater, just watching everybody kind of doing their audition pieces, watching everybody watching the people that were actually, there seemed to be a lot of looky-loos there at the time. So I did my piece. It's okay. Then I saw the 10th anniversary DVD of my audition piece. I didn't like it. So I'm actually surprised that Kevin actually cast me from that. And I do know, and he's said that the reason that he cast me was because I was actually able to kind of get some emotion at the end there and kind of get some tears in my eyes. So at least I had that for me, but otherwise I've done that piece a lot better than that night. I remember also after that, Kevin actually called me up and he asked me to come down to the convenience store so that I can actually read the script and see if I was comfortable with the dialogue and the language that I actually had to speak up. And so at this point, I didn't know anything about it. Got the script, I took it home with me and I read it. I actually was quite enjoying it, so I read it pretty quickly. There was still an audition process for him as far as getting Randall and Dante. I was very excited when he had me go as a reader so that they can pick out their Dante, which happened to be someone that I actually loved working with in the past, and he's a very good friend, I consider him, is Brian O'Halloran. I was very happy that I was actually going to be playing the role with him and that he was actually going to be with it in the film as well. We've had some really memorable times actually filming Clerks as well. Fresh bagels, like about, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning that weren't supposed to be going to us. Then there was all the yoo-hoo that I love yoo-hoo, so all the yoo-hoo that I could have. But, you know, what better way to have craft service? It's right there. So it was really a fun time, and I really enjoyed it. It's memorable. So if you'd like to keep up with what it is that I'm doing in this day and age of the internet, you can go to www.MarilynGhigliotti.com, and you can always find me on Facebook. Just look for my name, Marilyn Ghigliotti. Thank you so much.